Consistency is boring, and that's why it wins every single time. There's no dopamine hit in consistency. Let me tell you about one of my clients. She didn't lose these 20 pounds for the last 20 years. Consistency is boring, and that's why it wins every single time. We're going to talk about consistency, not motivation, not hacks, not the perfect plan, but consistency. Nobody likes this conversation because consistency is boring. It's not the flashy 75 days or 30 days or do this or grind it out or do all these weird things. No, it's the consistency. There's no dopamine hit in consistency. There's no dramatic before and after story in your first 2 weeks of consistency. Consistency doesn't trend on social media. So I'm surprised that you're here watching this because it's not trendy, but it wins every single time. Let me tell you about one of my clients. She didn't lose 20 pounds in 30 days. She didn't post dramatic transformation photo after 3 weeks. What she did was much less exciting. She lifted 3 times a week. She ate protein first. She protected her sleep. She improved her sleep hygiene. She adjusted and supported her choices when life got messy instead of quitting. And after 9 months, she lost 22 pounds of inflammation, excess water weight, and stress that she'd been carrying around, and body fat. She didn't sacrifice her muscle, which was amazing. It wasn't fast, but it was permanent. She's been trying to lose these 20 pounds for the last 20 years. Now, here's what's interesting. Nothing she did was revolutionary. I didn't teach her anything she didn't already know, but I helped her do something she'd never done before. She didn't find the perfect macro ratio. She didn't discover some secret workout. She didn't add another stressful thing to her calendar. She simply stopped restarting. And that's the shift most people never make. Think about it. How many times have you started over? Maybe every Monday. Most people are addicted to the feeling of starting. A new program, a new challenge, a new plan. Starting feels productive, like you're doing something. But finishing requires repetition. And repetition feels ordinary and boring. But ordinary behavior when it's done repeatedly, it's what produces that extraordinary result. That's where most people fall off, not because they lack knowledge. You already know what to do. You know you should sleep more, lift weights, eat protein, hydrate, manage your stress. But knowing doesn't produce results. Repetition does. Here's something I want you to consider. The body responds to patterns, not bursts. One great workout doesn't change your body. 20 consistent workouts do. One night of good sleep doesn't fulfill your sleep debt, and it doesn't change your metabolism. But 30 nights of consistent sleep does. One high protein meal doesn't build muscle, but months of protein intake do. Enough protein will. Don't be under protein, y'all. Biology is a pattern recognition system. And when your body sees consistent signals, it starts to trust you. It trusts that the food will come. It trusts that stress will be managed. And it trusts that recovery is available. And when the body trusts the environment, it adapts. That's when fat loss becomes possible. That's when we build muscle. That's when energy stabilizes. Not because of intensity, but because of repetition. And it's more than 30 days. That's why I believe in thinking in 90-day blocks. Come work with me for 90 days. Let's give you the tools that you need to be consistent. It's just about building a skill set. And once it's part of your habit and part of your routine and you understand why and your body understands how safe it feels, It's easy to do. We do 1 or 2 little shifts every 90 days. You can do this. It's not a 9-day burst. It's not a 7-day fast. It's not a 36-hour reset. 30 days is barely enough time for inflammation to calm down. You really don't know how inflamed you are until you go through a process like this. I hope you'll go through it with me because I lived it and I can hold your hand and help you through it. 90 days gives your body time to start to build muscle signaling. Not building tons of muscle just yet, but we're building the signals that it's safe to do so. We're getting the resources. We're getting the high quality protein and enough protein to be able to build. So we're still kind of in the planning phase, kind of in our first 90 days. It improves insulin sensitivity. We all could be a little more sensitive. We deepen our sleep cycles. We lower our chronic stress. This one, gosh, in our first 30 days, you can lower it by 47% and then by another 20% by day 60. And we're at 60% reduction in stress. What would that feel like for you? It feels amazing. Feels so good. Consistency becomes visible 90 days after 90 days after 90 days. Adaptation becomes measurable. But there's an emotional piece. Consistency isn't about perfection. Consistency is about adjustment. You don't quit because you had one off day. You reorient. You don't abandon the plan because progress slowed. Go have the piece of cake. Have the glass of wine. Know what it's going to cost you, but then we get right back on the program. We don't just throw away the whole weekend and binge. It's time to tweak. You don't start over every Monday. You continue. One of the biggest mindset shifts you can make is this. Stop asking, did I do this perfectly today? Did I check all the boxes? Instead, ask, did I reinforce the direction I'm building? That question creates momentum. Perfection creates burnout. And when you zoom out, consistency becomes less about discipline and more about identity. You're no longer forcing yourself to do the behaviors. You're becoming the person who does them. That's the full circle of this series. Identity, orientation, safety, consistency. That's the architecture of real change. Now, let me ask you something honestly. You've listened through this series and you understand the mechanics now. So the question becomes, are you building this structure alone? Or are you building in support? Are you ready for that? Because the difference between knowing what to do and actually becoming consistent is environment. And it's a whole lot easier to do with other people that are being consistent and doing it with you too. Not because you need more information, but because structure protects consistency. Accountability. So if you're ready, let's work the next 90 days together and work on identity, direction, nervous system stability, strength training, metabolic flexibility, and most importantly, repetition. Not rushed, not extremed, just aligned. So if you've been stuck in the cycle of starting over, you're tired of chasing the quick fix, you're ready to build something that actually lasts, click the link in the show notes. No pressure, just an invitation. Because the truth is, consistency is boring, but boring wins every single time. Now go out and liberate your awesome.